Hello friends, I am Zakir. Welcome to AngularJS training. In this video, I am going to show what is required to get started on AngularJS, a brief history, what is AngularJS, disadvantages and advantages of AngularJS, architecture, editor tools, and we are going to see AngularJS in action. Let's start. So in order to work on AngularJS, you need to have some basic understanding on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript programming. Don't worry if you do not know any of these, it's pretty easy and you can learn while going through this training session. I will try to put this training in a very simple and easy way so that you can understand better. So let's touch base something on some theory first, and I believe it's worth knowing it. So the brief history of AngularJS, it was originally developed by Mr. Heavily in 2009, and the first version was released in 2012. And AngularJS is completely free. It's an open source web application framework currently maintained by Google. Well, so what is AngularJS? So to put this definition in a simple way, so we can say AngularJS is a client-side MVC which is built on top of JavaScript and which allows us to make HTML DOM dynamic. And you can download the libraries from angularjs.org. And there are advantages and disadvantages that we want to talk about. So the advantages is it has the capability to create single page application in an easy and maintainable way. Unit testing made easy. It has dependency injection and make use of separation of concerns. And it also supports all modern browsers including smartphones like iOS and Android. And there are certainly disadvantages of using AngularJS. One of the reason is not secure because it's only JavaScript based framework. The security need to be implemented at the server side for authentication and authorization. And the second reason I would give is not degradable, meaning to say if the application user disables or turns off the JavaScript, then the user is going to say this basic page but not anything based on the Angular. Now going forward, where does AngularJS fits in the application? What is the basic architecture of this? So I'm going to flash out a diagram at a high level. So when a user makes a request through view routes that request to the controller. Controller gets the data from the server, manipulates the data and updates the model. Once the model is updated, it notifies the view and the view is being refreshed to the user. So this is pretty much happening when we are using AngularJS. And when we see about the concepts of AngularJS, so it is being surrounded by data binding. We have scope, dependency injection, we have controllers, expressions. That all we are going to see in action in coming videos. And when you are looking at the code snippet, the first step to work on AngularJS is to add the reference library. So once you download the library from angular.org, you need to add the reference to your page, and then the second step is to add the ng-app directive. So this ng-app directive will tell AngularJS that this div is the owner of this application. And within that ng-app div, whatever controls you have defined, as you see in this picture, there is an input text box and that is having an ng model username. So whenever the user enters a value into this text box, the model username will be updated. And then we also have ng bind where the data will be binded to the HTML view. Now in order to getting started with AngularJS, I am going to show you 3 ways of using AngularJS in our application. The first one, I am going to use Plunker online editor tool to show you how do we use AngularJS in our applications. So you can use this for your practice. So if you have downloaded Notepad++, you can use that as well for developing AngularJS applications. And obviously, if you have Microsoft.NET, that is one of my favorite platform where I can use AngularJS because of its intelligence. So I have opened my browser, and I did had this plunker.co. So you can see that we have a launch editor. So you can just click there, and then you can see a basic page that is already been created for you. So on your left, you can see index.html, script.js, style.css. So that is already been created. You can put your code here and then refer into your HTML page. So I'm not going to do that now. But again, I'm going to show you how do we add, if you do not have any of the tools like Notepad++ or Microsoft.NET, if you do not have any of the softwares or tools that is being installed on your machine, then you can simply use, if you have internet connection, you can actually browse through plunker.co and then start practicing on AngularJS. So the first step is to include a reference library for AngularJS. For that, you need to click on external libraries. That's what you are seeing on your right. So once you click there, you will be seeing a popular packages listed on all here. You see AngularJS, Bootstrap, jQuery and all that. So I'll be using AngularJS, and then I'll click on more. So I'll be going to use the latest version. The latest version of AngularJS is 1.5.3. When you click there, then you are going to see that there is a CDN that is being listed out here. So I'm going to add it. So when I click on add, you see that it is being added into your head section of your HTML page. Let me close this quickly. Yeah, you can see that you have AngularJS 1.5.3 version being added, and there you go. We can get started. So in the body section, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to say ng app. I'm going to say this div. I'm going to say the AngularJS that this div is owner of this application, right? So I'm going to use that ng app, and then I'm not going to create any controls, but let me create some expression, a basic expression where without AngularJS is not possible. Let's say I'm doing 45 by 5, and let me see what it is going to show me the result. So you can see, click on the live preview, and you can see that the calculated value is being displayed. You can see hello plunker is the header, and if you see the expression 45 by 5 is being computed, and 9 is a reminder that is being shown here, right? So let us move forward a little more. Let me create an input text box. Input type is equals to text. So value is nothing. Let me keep a placeholder as well. Enter. First name. And I'm going to define a model as well, ng model, which is fname, right? All right. So let me put a break. Okay. So I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to use this into an expression. So you can actually print that value, whatever is being entered into your text box, as an expression. So what I'm trying to explain here is, when you have ng app defined for your div, and whatever controls or any calculations that you want to take place within this div will be taken care by AngularJS. So for instance, what I'm doing, I have a text box, I have defined a model name called fname. So whatever I now in the runtime, whenever I enter any value into this text box, that value will be binded or will be assigned to this model. So whenever we see f name, so that f name I'm using expressions to print here, so that you will be seeing everything in live. Let's say for example I have saying technical training, right? So you can see whatever value I'm typing over here in this text box is being stored or binded into this model automatically, and then that is what I'm printing with the help of an expression. So this is pretty much that's what I want to show in Plunker. So the same way we can use a Notepad++, and then I'm going to show you how do we download libraries from the website. We already have this angularjs.org, so you can click on download AngularJS library, which is 1.5.3. So once I click there, it will be downloaded onto your local machine. But whereas in Plunker, we did not download anything. We only had added a reference out here, and that is a CDN reference that only works when you have an internet connection. So one of the CDN provider is Google. So we have already angular.min.js into the CDN. So just we are referring the CDN in your script tag, and that's it. We are just able to use that Angular powerful features. But that's not the same for um, working with Notepad++ or Microsoft .NET platform. You can still use CDN, and the other way around is you can actually download from angular.org website the complete library, and then you can start using in your own applications. I'm going to pause it here for now, and I'm going to open up my Notepad++, and I'm going to show you very quickly how do we get into an action of AngularJS. Right. So now, when I went browse on to this angularjs.org site, and you can click on download AngularJS. So when you click there, you are going to see a pop-up window saying that you're going to have a branch of 1.5 stable version, and you are going to which type of build that you want to actually download. You can download two types of versions here, two versions. One is minified version and one is uncompressed version. The difference here is minified version is actually removes all the white spaces, and it's compiled and best suited for production environment. And then uncompressed version is for your development environment, and you can actually see the code of Angular, and you actually can extend or add additional features into angular.js library, and then you can contribute to the AngularJS community. So we don't go in that, so we'll be using Unified. I'm going to show that in a Microsoft .NET platform, how do we use that. But for now, I'm going to select this Unified build, and I'm going to click on download. So I've already done that. So once you click on download, you will be seeing that there is a file that is being added to your machine, that is being downloaded, that is called angular.min. So it's in my D drive AngularJS folder that I have created. I'm going to show you how do I make use of this library into my notepad. So you can see that this is my notepad++. Now I'm going to create quickly a HTML page. I'm going to use head. Right. I'm going to use a script tag. I'm also D drive AngularJS angular.min.js file. This is what I have on my machine. So this is the path that we have downloaded that library, and I'm going to close this. Alright. So once the first step is including this library into your page, the second part of your working on AngularJS is to include ng-app, right? So I'm going to take that as well. So I'm not going to give any name for now. So I'm saying ng-app. So meaning to say this div, right? This div tells AngularJS, or maybe the ng-app says AngularJS that this div is the owner of the application. So whatever is being defined within this particular div, so that will be taken care by Angular, and then we can see the application features. The same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to say 45 by 5. This is an expression. Whatever value you put here will be computed, and you will see the end result. So in order to do that, we are good here. So we have an HTML page with head section. We have included the script. We have a body. We have a div. And now let me save this. So I'm going to save in the same folder. I'm going to say demo1, and I'm going to take this as an HTML page, hypertext markup language, and I'm going to save this. There you go. So we have saved that demo1.html. I can run it from here. So let me run in IE, allow block contents. Right, you see that. Right. So when I run in HTML page, it is resolving whatever values that we are giving into an expression, and the final result is on the screen. Right. So let us close this. Let us extend with another feature. So let me have an input type, text. Let me create a simple text box, and I'm going to say, I'm going to put a placeholder as well. Placeholder, enter your first and ng model, your first, right? Alright, so let me break this, and also I'm going to include ng type is equal to text value placeholder, enter your last. There you go. So let me break this. So let me say full name. So what is the full name? So we are going to use the same expression, and then I'm going to say fname and then name. Okay. Let us save this and let's run this in browser. Allow block content. Right. So I'm saying technical, and the second name is, last name is frame. You can see that. So whatever is been entered into this first text box, we are actually storing that into fname, a model name for fname, right? And then whatever we are typing in the second text box, the training, is going and stored into lname. So that's with the help of an expression we are trying to get that out, and that has been displayed, right? So this is another way of doing using a Notepad++. Now I'm going to pause a while, and then I'm going to open up Microsoft .NET platform and quickly going to show you how this powerful feature works very well in .NET. Alright, so I'm in Microsoft Visual Studio. So I'm going to go from the beginning here. So I'm going to say File, New. I'm going to add a new project. I want C# with web. I'm going to say web application. Let me give some name. Angular video training. Let me click on add. Well, so I'm going to take an empty project. So inside ASP.NET applications, we have different types of templates that we can actually build our applications. But now I'm going to work on only an empty, going to select an empty template and going to hit OK. Alright, let me go to Solution Explorer. Well, now you can see that we have an empty project without any additional files out here. So what I'm going to do, the first thing what I have to do is, in any Plunker or maybe in Notepad++ or any other editor tool, the first and foremost thing that what you have to do is including or downloading the AngularJS libraries, right? So in Microsoft.NET, what you can do, you can actually go right click on the project. You can click on Manage NuGet Packages, right? You can click on Browse and key in AngularJS. There you go. So you see that we have a lot of other libraries related to AngularJS. You have core, route, animate, resource, and all that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the first one, AngularJS 1.6. This shows as 1.06 million downloads so far, and the version is 1.5.3. That is the latest version that we have also seen in AngularJS portal. So I'm going to click on install. Once you click on install, you see that there are a lot of files that is being added automatically into the solution explorer in the scripts folder, right? So you can see that. Now I'm going to hit on install. I say okay. Do you see that? So in these we have it created scripts folders for us, and then it keep adding all the reference files. So whatever is included in this AngularJS, it is being added. You can see a lot of files references that is been adding for us, and yeah, that's done now. So you can see once it is done, it turns to green. And then when you expand this scripts folder, then you see a lot of files which is very important for you are developing your real-time application. For example, when I'm talking about Angular minified version and Angular JS version, that means development environment and production environment, that you have to include these references in your application. So when you want to talk about routing, right? When in single page application, routing takes a vital place. So you need to define when you want to route your application to different partial HTML pages, or different menus or something like that. So for that, Angular route will be useful. If you when you are talking about unit testing, so mocks is a library that you have to use in your application. There are a lot many that you can actually see here, and then you can make use in your application however you want it. When you want to animate something, you can use that. So that means Angular has given us a powerful libraries, independent libraries that you can include whenever you want it. You can exclude if you do not really want that. Okay. So now let me show you a difference of what do you mean by production environment and what do you mean by development environment. When you double click this, you can really see that there is no space at all. That means it's a compiled version, and you don't see anything like anything that is human readable. So it's all like a compiled version. There is all spaces is being removed and it's been compressed together. So that is the reason why we are using minified version. It reduces memory, or it really helps to download these libraries on, because JavaScript files, what happens is when you make a request from a user to the server, the JavaScript file will be downloaded onto the client machine. So if it is a bigger and larger file, it takes a lot of time to download on your machine. So that's the reason why they put it like the compressed version that it can download easily. So when you see AngularJS, when you open this app, it's all like the code that is written by Angular guys. You can see that. You can see there are a lot of functions. These are all JavaScript functions, right? These are all our JavaScript functions. So that is the reason why I have mentioned as a prerequisite, you need to have some understanding on JavaScript. So because of that, and the other reason is, if you want to extend this library, what you can do, you can simply add into this, and then you can straight away use in your application. At the same time, you can contribute to the AngularJS community as well. It is really helpful for others. Right. So what I'm going to do now, so this is pretty much about your reference files. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a HTML page. So I say right click add, and then I say HTML page. I'm not going to change anything now. I say HTML, let it remain there. Alright, so the first thing what I have to do, this is pretty much the beautiful thing that Microsoft .NET is really providing us. So in Notepad++, I need to type in by myself. In Plunker also it does give me, but it may not be useful for developing a hardware application. But whereas Microsoft .NET does half of the things for me and wanted me only to work on the core business logic rather than wasting my time in other stuff. Right. So now, in order to work with AngularJS, the first important thing, again, that's right, adding the library files. So I'm going to take this. Let me double click. Okay. This is the minified version. I'm going to simply see how easy it is. Simply click, drag, and just drop. right? So it is going to include, when you drag and drop onto your HTML page, it is going to create everything for you. You are not going to write this by your own. That's what I have done in Notepad++ or maybe in Plunker. They have selected just, that's a Plunker tool that have helped me out, but Notepad++ will not do it for me. But in Microsoft.NET, yes, of course, it does for me now. Alright, so let me include a div tag the same way, ngapp. The other beautiful feature with Microsoft.NET is that it gives me the IntelliSense. That means I don't need to type and find what element that I actually needed. You can see Notepad++ does not give me this. Maybe different other tools may have provided, but .NET actually helped me out with this IntelliSense and give me upfront information. Alright, so now I have included the references, and I am going to say this div is the owner of this application to AngularJS. So that's why I have taken ngapp. There might be a question like, if I have multiple divs, right? You might have multiple divs, then what should I be doing? And why should I be using this? Right. So .NET has my AngularJS has actually given us a way of flexibility. If you are just saying that you have included this reference file, that should take care of anything that is being in your whatever is being in your application body tag or wherever it is. Meaning to say, I have already included Angular min.js. Then why the hell should I be using this ngapp, or why should I be using anything, any directives in order to make sure that this div is owner of the application, or another div is not owner of the application. The reason behind is it has given us the flexibility. In some cases, you only wanted to have one div to behave with AngularJS. The remaining you want to have just simply as a HTML itself. If Angular, by including this reference, if it is allowing us, if it is not allowing us to have this differentiation, that means it's tightly coupled. There is no flexibility at all. What if my application only particular area I need to include AngularJS, the rest of the things should not be in the Angular scope. So that's the reason you need to specifically say, if you want two divs, all divs together to be in Angular, then you declare in the body tag. You say ngapp out here. Okay, so you can say in ngapp or the body label. So whatever divs inside this body will be under the scope of Angular. If not, if you want only one particular div to be in the Angular scope, and the second will not be in the Angular scope, the third might be again in the Angular scope. That's what the flexibility is. So it's not restricting you and forcing you that you have used angular.min.js and all your whole complete your page now is dependent on Angular, and Angular has to work on that, and you cannot include any other reference files if you are Angular is restricting you to do that. Okay, hope that is clear. The same thing, I am going to say input type is equals to text. I am going to say value is equals to nothing, so placeholder. So enter your first name ng model, right? That's it. All right. Let me break this. Let me put a break. Input type text value. Another placeholder. Enter your, or maybe last name. All right. So now let me break as well. So I say full name. I'm going to use the expression first name, last name. All right. So now let's run this. So there you go. So let me enter my first name, technical training by architects. You see that? So that is the power of AngularJS in Microsoft.NET platform. So you can see that in action. So there are a lot many things. This is just the beginning of learning AngularJS. Hope you have enjoyed this video. So we will be continuing with more and more exercises. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.